on the outside. Clayton Bates going to be happy with that, and then you got to take care of the basketball. Can't be turning it over on the road in conference play.
It's the maroon and gold and the brown and gold, separated by just 2 hours here in the state of Michigan. And it's Central Michigan that wins the jump as we're underway in Mount Pleasant. Each team without a starter today. Devontae Lane, the starter, out for CMU. So it's Caleb Huffman that makes his first start of the season. Matt Beechler with the shot clock down. Knocked out of bounds by the Broncos. This is what Western has done so good this year, allowing only 70 points per game. They've been excellent on the defensive ends.
Yeah, absolutely. Stifled CMU in that last meeting in Kazoo as well.
Broadway Jr. misses the first three, a contested three at that. Here come the Broncos with Beardis White running the show. No Titus Wright today as he didn't make the trip. So Danny Culp gets his first start. Guy that's only played in 4 games this season. Transfer out of Northwood. There's Greg Lee. Great pass to Whitens. Western strikes first.
Off-ball movement. Great vision to find him cutting on the backside. And you get a look at that starting lineup, Adam. No Devontae Lane today. That's going to be something to follow all afternoon.
Well, they're already shorthanded in the point guard department after an opt-out early in the year. Huffman unable to hit. White misses the three. Culp the putback. Whitens tries. And good aggression from the Broncos offensively.
And Danny Culp, a guy that was crashing the glass there, getting an offensive rebound right there. A putback doesn't go, but again, back-to-back offensive rebounds. Hustle rewarded with a trip to the free throw line.
All 3 points to Jason Whitens. He's a captain, returning starter. Doesn't score a ton, just over 5 points per game, but good leadership, always important in college basketball. And a good start for the Broncos. Broadway Jr. step back contests. All shots have been challenged so far from Western Michigan. Good save attempts. The Broncos come up with it. A lot of energy here from the side out of Kalamazoo. You can hear it down right below us. Their bench active early.
Well, and it's a rivalry matchup, you know, and I know it's a cold, snowy day outside, and there's no one in the building today other than staff, but got to bring your own juice, especially when you go on the road.
Muhammad boards. Central Michigan got to find some offense. Their creator in Devontae Lane leads them in assists. He's not in today. Matt Beechler, nice dime to Muhammad, who scores for the first time in a couple of games.
Nice pick and roll action, and Beechler trying to be the facilitator today. Obviously a sharpshooter from the outside. That's a part of his game, but being asked to do a little bit more.
And remember in that first matchup in Kalamazoo, it was Western that got out to an early lead, and they never gave it up, led the entire way as the Chippewas try to play catch-up against a defense that's one of the stingiest in the league. Good kick out to Martin. Three's off. Put back by Lee.
Uncontested. Coming in for that offensive rebound. Already 3-0 rebounds for the Broncos.
And that was something that Keno Davis talked about earlier this week. Western struggles offensively. Can't give them second opportunities. Muhammad. And off to Lee.
Good D by Culp inside.
White weaving his way down the lane. Martin short. White. And rebounded by Central Michigan.
Yeah, Chippewa is falling victim to just watching the ball right now. Not boxing out. Not trying to have a strong effort on the glass. And that's why the Broncos have had a lot of success. 7-2 early lead in the rebounding category.
And that's the second turnover by Central Michigan. Broncos coming off their first road win of the season at Bowling Green, where they knocked down a season-high 12 threes. They've started 0 for 4 from the outside. Make it 0 for 5.
Man, and they've had some great looks already, wide open for Western Michigan. They're going to rue letting all those chances go begging.
And that's one of the reasons why their record isn't what they'd like, just 2-7 in MAC play. They've struggled at times to score offensively. CMU struggling on the offensive end, just 1 for 6.
Settling for jump shots, too. I mean, really not in the flow of the offense. The only time they ran a legitimate set was that pick and roll with Malik Muhammad, and then he gets tagged to the moving screen.
So that's the first on Muhammad. Central Michigan looking like a team that is playing without their point guard. Good start for the Broncos.
To get his first win, obviously, and, you know, that's something that Keno Davis very accustomed to. You see there the Chippewas head coach, and, you know, he's trying to find that magic sauce, as is Clayton Bates. How are we going to get on a little bit of a run here in conference play? Got to try and get into the tournament. Got to be in the top 8 in the MAC when the regular season's over.
Keno Davis, a veteran in this rivalry. This is 19th game coach. He's 8-10 all time against WMU. That's an offensive foul against Jason Whitens.
And you're just trying to find something to get some momentum in your favor. If you're the Chippewas, you're off to a slow start. You're shooting just 1 of 6 from the floor. And maybe there, Broadway Jr. setting his feet a little bit, trying to draw that charge. Maybe that's what gets him going.
For Central Michigan offensively, Devontae Lane, their starter all year, leads them in minutes, assists, steals. What do they go to offensively, Matt, without their starting point guard?
Well, I think it's got to be in the hands of 5 right there. And, I mean, Murray turning it over, but still, that's kind of part of your bread and butter is guards penetrating off of the wing. Broadway Jr. is a guy that can put it on the bounce and finish at the rim. Murray can do it as well. We've seen Caleb Huffman can do that and pull from the outside. You know, those are things that you can turn to without a point guard. Plus, any misses for Western Michigan, you got to try and get out and run in the fast break.
Chippewas haven't scored in 2.5 minutes. They're 1 for 7 now to start. And the Broncos just 2 for 9, but they've taken advantage of 4 offensive rebounds. Greg Lee, good drive for 2.
And that's his first bucket, trying to pick up where he left off. Mentioned him in the open. Big game and a big win for Western earlier this week against Bowling Green.
24 road games in the MAC over the last couple of years. They've won just 2, and that last one coming on Wednesday, their first of the season. So it's been a struggle, again, at the end of the Steve Hawkins era. Had some injuries. Recruiting wasn't quite what they had thought on some guys. So Clayton Bates steps up, brings in some new ideas, and again, same type of thing, trying to get that program back to where it was in Kalamazoo because they were rolling for a while.
Absolutely, and that's what Bates brings. He brings some familiarity to the program. Obviously not a stranger to Western Michigan, but still, now you're that leading voice. Just a change of tone in the locker room can really do a program wonders.
The Saint, hard take. First 2 for the redshirt junior. That ends the scoreless stretch of over 3 minutes. Broncos look confused. Shot clock under 10. Patrick Emilian dumps to Whitens, who gets banged. And we get a foul called on P.J. Mitchell, a little push. Big opportunity for P.J. Mitchell today with no Devontae Lane. He's a guy that is only averaging around 8 minutes per game, but he's the backup point guard and an opportunity to step up.
Hey, he's going to play big minutes today, and Beechler gets caught on the wrong side of a screen. Western still ice cold from the outside. You got to imagine they're going to start falling at some point.
Greg Lee picks up the first. Well, the Broncos from the outside shoot it around 30%, so not great. And they're second to last in the conference, getting 6 makes from deep. But again, that's how they won on Wednesday with the 12 triples. They're going to change the foul, maybe. You could keep it on Greg Lee. Not sure what the discussion was from the officials. That was the first on the senior out of Rockford. Mitchell stutter stepping, dumps it off. Muhammad has it blocked by Emilian. Gets it back and scores again.
Love the determination and grit, and I like the drive by P.J. Mitchell. Even though he's probably not thinking layup, the Broncos have to plan for that. He goes right in, gets to the block, and then the wraparound pass. That's what P.J. Mitchell can bring at the point guard position. Really good distribution.
Off the miss from Lee. Broncos get it back. Tipped away, though, by Broadway. Here comes Central Michigan. Mitchell, a little bit more confidence after that assist to Muhammad, who's already got 4 points at only 2 points total in the last 3 games. Can he get another bucket? Yes, sir. 6 already for the transfer out of L.A.
Sharing the basketball. Chippewas using it as a collective effort without their point guard today.
It's a 6-0 CMU run. Inside, Lee ends it with his 3rd bucket. Lee has really come on over his last 5 games, averaging nearly 17 points and around 8 rebounds while shooting at a 60% clip. Deep 3 for Beechler. Rebounded by Lee. 4th board already for the transfer out of Cal State Bakersfield. Yardis White, the other one, he's their leading scorer, yet to get on the board. Around 14 points per game. Loose ball, contact, and that's unfortunate for Beechler. He picks up the personal as he got toppled over as well.
And it was really good defense by CMU. You see that Broadway Jr. trying to get out and run. Ralph Basainth is there. Pass is tipped, and Matt Beechler just in the wrong place at the wrong time.
Broncos make wholesale changes, as does Central Michigan. Some different lineups, again, because both teams a little bit injured coming in, and Broncos have been hit by the COVID-19 bug as well. Have had guys in and out of the lineup all year. Inside to Culp against Hodgson, and he'll have a chance for 3.
Good position by Danny Culp inside. Good find, and then fights through it right here. Hodgson goes for the block. Culp says,
have had 5 on the offensive glass. You take a look at the series history, 6 straight victories, longest in the series for CMU until that meeting to open up conference play this year.
Yeah, I really liked the look of Western in that first meeting back before Christmas. They were given a lot of open looks from 3 early. They knocked down a few. They captured all the momentum, but you mentioned it earlier today. I think Western does a really good job of bringing the energy on the sideline as well. They were extremely loud and active down in Kalamazoo in December, and they've started to do that again today with that bench.
I think it's that new young energy from first-year head coach Clayton Bates. Get a steal, 4th turnover for the Chippewas, and Culp has 5.
Big man's rewarded for running the floor. You find him in transition, and just like that, Western on a little run of their own.
He's got the last 5. His season high is 6. This just the 5th game he's played. He had 3 in that first meeting against Central Michigan. And no Titus Wright, if you're just joining us, the typical starter out of Thomasville High School. Huffman with the baseline jumper. Can't get the bounce, and Emelian's got the rebound. Largest lead currently for Western Michigan. Where do they go to for offense with no White or Lee on the floor?
Yeah, a whole lot of nothing going on with the Broncos right now offensively. Got to put it up.
And they can't. Martin gets stripped. Good defense by CMU.
Poor possession by Western Michigan. Clayton Bates got his hands out saying, what are we doing out there? We're just passing it around the perimeter. Probably one of their not so good possessions today. And, you know, got to give CMU credit too. Murray with a tip right there with the shot clock winding down forces the turnover.
Well, as you look at 2 teams that are sitting in 9th and 10th, trying to get into the MAC tournament conversation, one of the things that the Chippewas have done well, they picked the pocket, second best in the league, nearly 9 steals a game. They've forced 4 Bronco turnovers already. Western is suffocating on this end. There's an open look for Huffman. Rolls out. CMU 0 for 5 from deep. Offensive rebound, Muhammad. Broadway Jr. going into Culp, and he'll get free throws.
Good hustle by Malik Muhammad to get that offensive rebound. Broadway Jr. determined to get to the rim at all costs.
Broadway Jr. coming off a 26-point performance, 6 rebounds, 4 steals, 3 assists in that loss to Ohio on Tuesday. It's a Central Michigan team that all of a sudden, Matt, has dropped 4 in a row, including 7 of their last 8. So they are desperate to pick up a win. Good time to be at home, though. This is the second of 4 straight inside McGurk.
Yeah, they had a bit of a scheduling quirk, obviously, due to COVID, and this year going to be different than any other in a school's history. But, yeah, had 3 road games in a row and a 4th in that stretch that was postponed due to COVID. And so now you're due some home games, right? And that they're right in the middle of that. And you got a rival at home right now. You want to make the most of it.
This will be the last meeting between Central and Western. And then Ball State's that team sitting ahead of both these clubs. They'll each get a chance to play the Cardinals again. Emelian misses the turnaround. Huffman, quick crossover. Murray has not gotten going yet. There he does, though, as he goes one-on-one with Emelian.
Yeah, a little shake. Gets Emelian backing up and then kind of goes into the body, creates a little separation. That's what Murray can do. And we highlighted him at the top. He needs to have a big day, especially in Lane's absence.
We talked about it for the Broncos. Who scores when both their leaders are out right now? They haven't scored in over 2 minutes. And Martin lost it. So the struggles continue for the Broncos offensively. And here comes White and Lee, and Whiten is back into the game.
Just kind of loses the handle there, and pretty helpless feeling when that happens. And take a look here at him, who's checking in for the Chippewas at point guard.
Shad Weekly McDaniels stepping in for Keno Davis. He's a guy that's only seen time in late in games when they're out of hands, but an opportunity, again, presenting itself with no Devontae Lane.
Yeah, and the young point guard don't want to pick up the dribble right there, kind of no man's land away from the basket.
Broadway Jr. one-on-one with Cruz over the top.
A little drought developing for Western Michigan. Like you mentioned, inconsistent offensively and maybe some unfamiliar lineups, and primary ball handlers back on the floor. We'll see if that leads to some success for the Broncos.
And Chippewas have taken advantage of the scoreless drought. 6-0 CMU run. White looking for his first points. Got him. First triple knocked down for the Broncos. He leads Western Michigan in that category. 29th triple this season.
Kind of an I got it, you take it scenario there. Both defenders leave him, and probably surprised to be so wide open, but Broncos happy he knocks it down, and maybe that gets him going.
He's had a great start to his Western Michigan career. Already 400 total points in his first 2 seasons. Take it away from Broadway. Up ahead, Whiten's lost it on the hip. Broadway Jr. up ahead alone. Pumps on Lee and scores. 6 points now for Javon Broadway Jr., leader for the Chippewas with over 17 points per game. Good battle here through the first 10-plus minutes between the rivals. And a foul on Weekly McDaniels. It'll be Western Michigan ball when we come back. 159th meeting between the Chippewas and the Broncos. Trevon teams will go to Cleveland instead of all 12 making it. So this is a very pivotal matchup, as each Central and Western Michigan sitting in that 9th and 10th spot at 2-7 and 2-8.
Yeah, and looking up at Ball State in the 8th spot, and more specifically for Central Michigan, as long as this schedule holds, and we know during COVID that can be very fluid, but Ball State coming up on Tuesday and again later in the month. So 2 chances for CMU head-to-head. Those are worth 2 games apiece in the standings.
Rafael Cruz Jr. with the and one. Welcome back to the lineup. He's been out last 4 games, comes back in and immediately makes an impact.
Perfect example of why, as a smaller guard, utilize the pump fake. When you go inside, you get Caleb Huffman up in the air, and once he's there, he's stuck. Nothing he can do. Want to try and get that 3rd point to go down, but still, great play and utilizing that pump fake. exactly what you want.
Big win today, by the way, for the Cardinals. Just talking about them, they picked up a win over first in the league. Toledo, just the second loss for the Rockets.
This
Broadway
league,
Jr.
man,
with 8.
I mean, come on. Bowling Green was hot early. Now they're all the way down in 7th place. Top teams seemingly cruising, and all of a sudden they stub their toe. Maybe 2 or 3 in a row. Sometimes those teams lose. I mean, so unpredictable.
It just looked like Toledo had started to separate themselves. Bronco turnover. Akron won last night, but they had 3 losses. But Toledo loses today to Ball State, a squad that had lost 4 in a row coming in. So Cardinals will be riding some momentum as they enter Mount Pleasant on Tuesday, as long as that game gets played. Always an asterisk this year going into games. You just never know.
Right.
Chippewas with a chance to tie or take the lead. Instead, a Caleb Huffman turnover, the 6th giveaway for the Chippewas.
Trying to get a feel for this game now. Getting close to the end of the first half. There's not a whole lot of flow right now. You know, there's not a whole lot of up and down. It's very much in the half court. 0 fast break points so far today. 30 points in the paint between both teams. It's definitely kind of a rock'em sock'em conference battle right now.
That's kind of what you expect from 2 teams that struggle offensively in the league. Greg Lee, tough shot. Western Michigan, 11th in the league, averaging under 65 points per game. The Chippewas sitting in 7th, but they don't have their starting point guard today. So it feels like it could be that grinded out type of game for 40 minutes. Who brings the energy could win this one. Basaint from the top. And the Chippewas can't buy one from the outside, 0 for 6. Look at the speed from White. Stripped, though, by Mitchell. And CMU now with a break. Murray dumps it off. Basaint ripped away by Cruz.
Man, that was a great pass. You thought that was going to be an easy lay-in, and Cruz up to the challenge, stripping without fouling.
There was your 2 opportunities for fast break points on both ends. Instead, we get steals.
I just want some up and down. I just want a little bit of flow. There we go.
Greg Lee now into double figures with 10.
Just going about his business, huh? Cold from the outside. 1 for 13 between both teams, and Greg Lee just, don't mind me. I'm just going to go inside, and I'm going to get 10.
4 rebounds, 2 assists, and a steal as well.
Wow.
For a great addition in the offseason for Clayton Bates, who took over the head coaching job right when COVID started. And lost 2 of their top scorers due to transfer, Michael Flowers and Brandon Johnson. So had to add some pieces, and Greg Lee was one. Lee's got the last 4 for the Broncos. White's been quiet with just 3 points. Knock away by Mitchell.
Yeah, good anticipation. Kind of a telegraphed pass by Beartis White there. And what's that I see, Adam? Are those maroon sneakers for number 3? Wearing maroon in a rivalry matchup? I don't know if that's going to fly.
Is that one of those where you wear the opponent's colors to give you an extra edge or motivation?
Anytime you look down at the floor, you get frustrated and upset.
Yeah, you're absolutely right. I didn't even see that. Maroon sneakers for the black and golds. He can't hit the 3. Both teams really struggling from the outside. Combined 1 for 15. Broncos have the 1-3 from White, but that's it. Beechler drives, and he'll get the call on Emelian. So we'll head to our final media timeout. Beechler and the Chippewas trying to get back into this one down Central Michigan. Now a few games behind Ball State because they picked up the victory at home over the Rockets. So this is a pivotal game. Almost feels like an elimination game. Now we've got 10 to go, but this is such a pivotal game for both teams to try and jockey into that top 8.
Right. Ball State's right there. And Bowling Green's kind of entering into that conversation of who's going to get in. But you look at it, it's kind of Ohio, Kent, Akron, and Toledo at the top. And pretty much the 5 seed down is kind of where the conversation starts. Because, you go on a 2-3 game win streak at the bottom part of the standings, you can really start rising up.
Well, Keno Davis said it. with this league being so wide open, he just wants to get into the conference tournament. Feels like any team has a shot to win it once you get to Cleveland. Culp has it pop out. Broncos have had the lead for the majority of this first half. They've done this in quite a few games as White gets caught reaching in. They've had the lead against Kent State, Toledo, Akron, but it's been the second half woes for the Broncos. They've been outscored by over 100 points in the final 20 minutes, so that'll be a key as we move forward. Final 3 minutes in this first half. Basaint, tough drive, and he will have free throws coming up. Ralph Basaint, a little bit more aggressive throughout this first half.
Offhand as well, going left. See right there, and I'm going to finish with the left. A little shove. Danny Culp thinks I want to try and block it. No, that's going to be a goaltend, and see if Basaint can knock down a couple free ones.
That's the second on Greg Lee as well. He's been the dominant factor. 10 points on 5 of 7 shooting. And the Chippewas, a team that's been up and down at the line, a perfect 5 for 5. So Lee checks out. Maybe an opportunity here for Central Michigan to go on a little run. The leading scorer out of the game. 2 for 2 for Basaint. (24-22). Beartis White, he's been quiet, just 3 points on 1 of 6 shooting. Leads Western Michigan with nearly 14 points per game. Sophomore trying to get free. Freeman, the freshman, up for 3. Offensive board, Emilian, blocked by Muhammad, then blocked underneath by Basaint. Still loose. And rolls out of bounds. Last touch by Central Michigan.
Wow, a lot going on there and a lot to unpack. A scramble down here. That's initial block by Muhammad. Broncos wanted a goaltend there, and that looked like it was high-pointed by Basaint, so I think that's a good no-call by our officials. And then it's anybody's guess here when it's bouncing around. Looks like Muhammad's the last one to touch it.
Yeah, didn't see it go off the backboard either on that Culp try.
Yeah, I think it was maybe more peeking right when Basaint got a fingertip on it.
Chippewas have been up in the department of blocking this year. Nearly 3 a game, which is top 5 in the MAC. Tough shot for White, and he drains it in front of Beechler.
That's the one that goes down. Maybe the best defended look of the afternoon. Right in Matt Beechler's face. He knocks it down.
2 for 10 for Western Michigan from deep, both coming from White. Broadway Jr. trying to get around Culp. Good balance.
Yeah, just hanging in the air. Defender not sure when Broadway Jr. is going to release it. And he's quietly got his way into double figures.
10 points for Broadway Jr. with a rebound and assist. Martin off. Rebound Broadway Jr. Looking to push. Matt Beechler running the point right now for Central Michigan with no Devontae Lane. Here's Huffman. Great drive around a few Broncos.
Yeah, crease opened up. Probably wasn't what Caleb Huffman was thinking, but presence of mind to attack and get in there. And now we've got a 1-possession game.
1-point game with just under 90 seconds to go. Western Michigan's led by as many as 7, but avoided majority-wise those scoring droughts. We keyed the top of the broadcast. They had that early one, but since then have been scoring often. Same thing we saw in game 1 between these two. Central Michigan just could not hit anything from the outside. They're 0 for 7. That's a credit to the Broncos defensively. They're top 3 against opponents' 3-point percentage in the league. Tough shot for White, high off the window.
Yeah, that's a great look, or great finish, I should say, because Malik Muhammad defends that really well. Good-looking shot by White.
He started to take over with Lee on the bench. 5 straight for the sophomore out of Canton. Final minute of play. Beechler can't tie it. Fight for the loose ball. Comes down to White. Pushing the tempo to Freeman. And a rebound from Muhammad. And a foul from behind.
Couple things on that last possession. You know, Danny Culp with good help. And then you see him right there. He's battling with Muhammad. And I think Malik Muhammad just has a sliver better positioning under the basket for that rebound, and that's why the Broncos get tagged with an over the back.
Central Michigan's been wanting this type of performance from Muhammad. He's been pretty quiet, Matt, over the last few games. Not just the points department, but in the rebounding as well. And he's asserted himself so far today. 6 points, 5 rebounds, and a steal.
When early on in conference play, that's when Muhammad started to really kind of blossom. You know, you thought, okay, is Malik Muhammad going to be a guy that the Chippewas can get double figures from? You know, he was doing a good job getting to the free throw line at a good clip for a few games, and then he kind of drifted away, and he's kind of gone silent.
Got to get on the stats guy. He had a block earlier in this game, too. That's not listed. And that block right before Ralph Basaint had the second. Muhammad knocks down both free throws, and again, it's a 1-point game. CMU perfect 8 for 8 from the stripe. Under 10 on the shot clock. Freeman tries another triple. This one's good on his third attempt. 10 seconds left for CMU. In the hands of their leading scorer, Broadway Jr. short. Whiten's three-quarter court heave. And we're done with the first 20 minutes. Central Michigan and Western Michigan battling to a 4-point difference.
Yeah, good look at the end of the first half right there. You see Freeman, Broadway Jr. tries to.
And the Broncos have the edge in both games. They're up 38-35. That's Shane Klipfelt, Heather Osterly battling down in Reed Fieldhouse.
Yeah, great one down there as well. They should have a good finish, and curious to keep an eye on Central Michigan over the stretch run of the regular season. A traditional power in this conference. They've found it tough in conference play this year, up and down. For the CMU women, how do they finish the regular season? They're accustomed to going to the NCAA tournament year in and year out.
That's Mikal Murray, picks up his second, had his arms around Lee. Greg Lee had to sit out the final few minutes of that first half with his second personal. He's back, leader for the Broncos with 10 points. Also had 4 boards in the first half. Inside to Lee, one-on-one against Muhammad. They let the two battle. Good defense by Malik Muhammad. Murray snags the loose ball. Muhammad trying to post up, find position. Broadway looking for him and gives it to him. One-on-one here for Muhammad. And a great move. Nice on both ends for Malik Muhammad to start this second half.
Good that the basket went. I think he traveled, though. And CMU's going to take that. No whistle there, and the Western bench felt it. But I thought good defense by Danny Culp, but then good persistence by Muhammad to stick with the play.
And now Culp picks up the personal inside, his second. Again, he's playing in just his 5th game of the year, making his second start. Titus Wright, the typical starter, sophomore, did not make the trip. A guy that's averaging 9 points and 5 rebounds a game. For the Chippewas, no Devontae Lane, their starting point guard. Murray rolls it in.
Good start to the half for Murray. He was quiet in the first 20 with just 2 points. We highlighted him at the top. He's a guy that's a double-figure machine for CMU. See if that kickstarts his second half.
And he's at 14 straight in double figures, 15 of their 17 total games. Culp all alone. He says, why not? A little bit short. Rebounded by Culp. No one went and tagged him. And that's the 9th offensive rebound for the Broncos. Paid off with the flush.
Yeah, Muhammad just got pulled out of the paint a little bit there. And Greg Lee happy to take advantage with little resistance.
34-32. Those are the first 2 points of the second half for Western Michigan. It's been a close game throughout. Largest lead was 7 for the Broncos. CMU has yet to grab the advantage. Shot clock is low for Huffman. Stutter step, dumps it off. Muhammad got to get it up quick. Beats the horn, but misses the shot. White quickly up the floor. Out to Martin. Rebound by Culp.
That's those open looks. Western got a lot of those in the first half, didn't knock them down. They haven't really, I mean, it's very early, obviously, but that one didn't go down. And those are ones that if you pass too many up, Adam, if they don't go down, they may just come back to bite you in the end.
Shot clock under 3. 2 misses from the outside. Broadway Jr. leaking out. Euro stepping his way to the cup.
He loves the Euro, Trevon Broadway Jr. does, and that's another one that the Western coaching staff wants the officials to think about in the future.
4th tie of the game. Coaches getting on the officials. We don't ever see that, do we? That's an offensive, and that's the 3rd on Lee. So Western Michigan, they're not getting the calls on either end right now.
Storyline brewing, and that one's borderline, but I don't think completely unwarranted. You know, the elbow leaves the body a little bit, and Murray in position but kind of moving, so that's why he kind of bounces back a little bit. Look out.
What about Murray's shoes, Matt? Those have the gold and the black, little Bronco tie. We picked on Beardis White a little bit.
Mm-hmm. I think that's a questionable choice, you know, for a rivalry matchup for sure, but
Chippewas looking for their first lead of the game. Murray trying to do it in those gold sneakers. And the air ball picked up by Emelian. Grinded out game continues between the Broncos and Chippewas, tied at 34. Wilkins is checked in for the first time. He's been hampered by injuries throughout the year. He'll take the 3 and hit it.
Got to turn to, you know, a new body, a fresh face. Able to knock that one down.
The Saint, a little kick and dish. Chippewas still have not hit that first 3. Can Beechler do it? Nope, too long. Give credit to Western Michigan. It's been a close game throughout, but every time the Chippewas have tied or come within range of grabbing the lead, Broncos have had an answer.
And sometimes from unlikely sources, Wilkins the latest.
Here's White to try. Back-to-back triples.
Okay, heating up for the Broncos.
They had a season-high 12 in their first road win on Wednesday at BG. They now have 5 this afternoon. The Saint, the quick spin, rolls off.
And everything but the finish there. Good move. Look out. Extend the run right now for the Broncos.
6-0 spurt. Will they try another 3? Wilkins, good footwork. Whitens the board and the foul. Western Michigan just wanting it more right now as we play nearly 5.5 minutes into this second half. Playing with a little bit more energy in that last stretch.
That's right. That's what it needed. You know, the first half was very much played at a slow tempo. Half court, no fast break points, not a whole lot of transition offense. And now you were waiting. Who's going to go on that first run? Basketball, game of runs, especially in the second half. There's usually 2 or 3 runs. Western punches first. They've come out 9-0 run. CMU has to respond.
Well, that was after CMU scored 6 straight to tie it at 34. The Broncos have responded. Largest lead of the game. Broadway Jr. gets the answer to stay down.
Yeah, home rim right there. That one wanted to creep out, and Chippewas needed that one to go in the worst way.
Broncos trying to win in this building for the first time since 2016. Coach Bates looking for a sweep in his first season against the rivals. Emelian, smooth.
Love that take. That was strong and determined.
Nice touch off the window as he rolled it in, too. Beechler trying to find some space. I feel like if CMU can get that first 3, Matt, that might open things up for them offensively. Mohammed, that's a charge. Good sake underneath.
Yeah. Wilkins was right there. How about the boost Wilkins has given since coming in? And that one was inside the circle. That left foot back there, but just too much force in the eyes of the official, and they go the other way.
And Wilkins, a guy that hasn't played a ton because he's been dinged up with some injuries, but they've had to put him in there a few times, being short-handed with COVID or potentially injuries. Here's Mitchell, the steal out in front. There's a little spark for CMU.
Got to find it somewhere, and he read that like a book. He was waiting for that pass and an easy lay-in. That's something that the Chippewas have missed. Devontae Lane, always active defensively, jumping passing lanes. I think that's maybe something that we've not really realized here today.
Yeah, him and Broadway Jr., the leaders in the steals department in MAC games this year. There's a reach in, called on White. He thought it was picked clean. Mitchell trying to get in, goes to Mohammed. Broadway Jr. cutting, and a foul called on Wilkins. It's been the Trevon Broadway Jr. show throughout this entire season, leading the Chippewas with over 17 points per game, back in double figures for a 16th time, and he's been in up over 20 points 6 different times this year. A guy that came off the bench last year, averaged 7 points per game. Stepped up in a big way for CMU.
Yeah, they've needed him all season, and he has not disappointed. Most nights you can rely on Broadway Jr. to bring it offensively, and a lot of times, you know, in this offense, if things don't materialize in the first 20 seconds in the shot clock, it's usually Zero that has the ball in his hands, and he's asked to create.
It'll be interesting to see next year, just across the entire Mid-American Conference, what the seniors decide, because this is essentially a free year eligibility-wise. Broadway Jr., one of those seniors. 3 ball is in from Freeman. Freshman starting to produce in the points department over the last few games for Western Michigan. And now a charge called on CMU.
Guess who? Wilkins again, drawing 2 charges. He's got a 3 to his name. He's only played 4 minutes. He's had a huge impact.
And all the energy and momentum right now on the side of Western Michigan. Chippewas look a little dejected. 9-point Western lead, the largest it's been. Wilkins has been the spark. Shot clock late for Boye Richard. Trying to get around Huffman. Step back. Good defense by Central Michigan. Murray up ahead. Huffman leaking out.
Good find. Murray leading the break. Normally he's on the receiving end of those, but still, great job by him to find Huffman.
I think that's someone they got to get going. CMU going to get back in this one. Either Huffman or Murray. One of those two guys got to start creating, making some shots.
When you say that, you know, get back into this one. It's only 7, but the way this game has gone, 7 feels like 15.
It has been that low-scoring, grinded out, difficult to get points consistently. Hamilton, and those dagger threes just keep coming from the Broncos. That's their 7th.
Yeah, 4 for 6 in the second half, too.
Broadway Jr. able to get one to go down.
But this is what I'm talking about. This is what was missing in the first half. We thought this was going to finish in the 60s, and we finally got some tempo. We've got a little bit of flow going.
Yeah, two teams really just feeling each other out through the first 20 minutes. That's a foul from behind on Dalen Hamilton. And we're cooking already. Not a lot of whistles. Already 10:30 left to go. Broncos heating up from deep. And they've got deep for WMU.
Knocking down shots, and that's what you need to do. You need to take advantage of the open looks, and some of these have even been decently defended by Central Michigan, but you wondered if it was going to start happening. The Broncos had a great outside shooting performance last time out. Even though they don't shoot it at a high clip during the season, seems like they're starting to find their shooting stroke.
Broadway Jr. has been the answer offensively for CMU. It's them with 17 points. Make it 20. Gets knocked down. Still hits the triple. That's the first of the game for CMU. Maybe that starts to get him going from deep. 1 for 11. Boye Richard hounded by Huffman.
Got a whistle, and what was it?
They called timeout.
Okay. Called a timeout. All right.
Trevon Broadway Jr., the first of the game. Maybe a little contact there as well. 51-46. Western Michigan in front. You see the Broncos edging the Chippewas in Kalamazoo as well on the women's side. Western Michigan trying to get it in. They throw it away. So good defensive stretch. Remember, the timeout was forced because of Huffman in the grill of Boye Richard. CMU earns the ball back.
Yeah, good stretch going right now. Broadway Jr. has knocked down that three like you mentioned. You get a turnover, and we'll see. Still, Broncos with the advantage, 5 points, and they've looked the better team through the second half. This has just been a small sample size here for Central Michigan. They need to build on it if they're going to be able to stay within striking distance.
Lead was as large as 10 for Western Michigan. Chippewas have never had the advantage. We've had 3 ties. Saint trying to get around Freeman, and he draws contact.
And I think that's the key for Ralph Basaint's game. A lot of times he settles for that three in the corner. He doesn't really need to be a knockdown three-point shooter. That's not what this team needs from number one. He needs to be a guy that can get into the paint, get to the free throw line. He's a really good rebounder, and he tends to be a pretty good finisher when he gets to the bucket.
It's going to be a key for Central Michigan. Getting to the line now. They're in the bonus the rest of the way, and they've shot it well from the stripe. 10 for 11. One for 2, and Broadway Jr. trying to box out or trying to come up with that board, and Whiten's got underneath of him. So right back to the line.
If somebody jiggled their keys in their pocket at the free throw line, you could hear it.
Not many people in this building.
That's how quiet it is for everyone watching at home. If you haven't been in an arena yet during the pandemic with a game going on.
It's eerie.
Very. And it makes it difficult for a free throw shooter because usually you're used to somebody making some sort of noise.
Broadway Jr. trying to pull Central Michigan to within 2. We got a game here. 9 minutes to go.
Like you said earlier, every time CMU has drawn close, Western's had an answer.
And right now, the Broncos trying to answer an 8-0 Central Michigan run. Scoreless over the last 2 minutes. Maybe time for Greg Lee get back in the game. And there he is, checking in down by the scores table. They've missed his presence. White, a deep 3. And back to Central Michigan. The woes continue offensively for the Broncos, and this is why they are sitting at 3-11, because there's been stretches where they've had the lead throughout games, but they've struggled to score, specifically in the second half in crunch time, and that's allowed CMU to get back into this game.
Yeah, dating back to the 11-minute mark. That's the last time Western Michigan got a bucket, and that's just too easy for Broadway Jr. driving in. We've been here before. And I just said it. Broncos have had an answer every single time. But where do they turn to? Do they go back to Greg Lee?
A 10-0 run has tied us for the 4th time. Rafael Cruz gets turned around. And it'll be before the shot on Basaint. Actually, they're going to get Caleb Huffman.
Yeah, had his arms around him. Just the 5th team foul for Central Michigan. So no threat of the bonus yet.
2:30 with no points. Where do the Broncos go? Is it Lee? Is it the freshman Freeman? And that's another foul on Huffman. He can't believe it.
That's just, I've wondered if that's been coming. I've watched Caleb Huffman closely the last few minutes on the defensive end. He's getting pretty aggressive. He's reaching in, and that can work for you. Sometimes you tip a ball, sometimes you get a free run out, but if they're calling it tight.
Extra pass to Freeman. Gets his own miss. Hustle play for the Broncos. And last touched by Central Michigan.
The ref underneath saw a tip.
Well, that's
get a really good look at it right here. Yeah, that was Caleb Huffman reaching in, got a lot of ball.
Looks like it's out on Western Michigan, but it's either typically a foul called or you give it to the team that didn't get the foul call on offense.
Yep.
10 on the shot clock. Here is Greg Lee, just back into the game with those 3 personals. 1-on-1, tough shot. Rebound tapped around, and CMU just cannot get a rebound. Or can they?
We'll see if we can get one more look at it. They change it and give it to Central Michigan. Keno Davis adamant that
it was a 10-point Western Michigan lead, their largest of the game. Since then, a 10-0 Central Michigan run, tied at 51. Chippewas looking to take their first lead.
Yeah, despite 11 from 3 for CMU, shooting over 50% from the floor, and that's a reason why. 38 points in the paint for Central Michigan. They have not settled for too many jump shots. They've gotten to the basket.
Lead number 1 for the Chippewas, 53-51. Murray with 6. He's had a quieter game. The Broncos haven't answered. A drought that's lasted 3 minutes continues. Murray gives it right back to Rafael Cruz Jr. Going 1-on-2, but Saints pounds it off the glass. Huffman weaving down and drops it in for 2 more.
Yeah, with the offhand, you could see Ralph Besainth was lining up that block the entire way. Those long arms leading to transition buckets. CMU trying to get out and run. 10 points in transition.
Where do the Broncos go for offense? All of a sudden, Central Michigan has all the momentum. A game of runs indeed.
This could be big.
Freeman finally, after 4 minutes, gets Western Michigan off the snide.
Even though they've given up the lead for the first time, they have that answer. Freeman brings it and is able to knock it down. Western's shot the ball much better from 3 after the first 10, 12 minutes of this game.
He's equaled a career high for the 2nd straight game with 9. Broadway Jr., the offensive rebound, gets fouled. Freeman picks it up, and the Chippewas going back to the line. Well, they have been excellent here. 12 for 14. Look at that block one more time.
He loves to do that. No, he's a guy that likes to trail the play in transition, and he's trying to be that eraser at the rim and timed it perfectly.
And that Huffman bucket on the other end, 10-0 in fast break points for Central Michigan. Crucial miss, though, at the stripe.
Yeah,
on the front end.
On the front end. So you missed the second one as well. So that could be big.
Now can Western Michigan take advantage and get a little momentum back? They get a foul, and that's bonus time now for Greg Lee and the Broncos.
Give Lee some credit. He's been battling all day, been fighting foul trouble, and the Saints just trying to deny, and despite being in and out of the rotation today due to foul trouble, still leading the Broncos in scoring.
And he's only had 2 points in the second half. Remember, had 10 at the break. You've got White with 11. But again, this has been the story with Western Michigan this year. Scoring is down with only Lee and White in double figures. There's another front-end miss. We going to get to 60, Matt?
We will. We will.
It's been tough sledding here over the last couple of minutes. And that's another foul.
Well, this is something we have not really had to deal with for most of the afternoon. There's been fouls called, obviously, but we've had some pretty good flow, and we've been going back and forth, especially of late. Now you just wonder, guys are getting a little tense out on the floor. They're getting a little handsy and aggressive defensively if the whistles start to come.
Well, the first 10 minutes, we didn't really have any whistles at all in the second half.
3 front-end misses in this game in back-to-back-to-back possessions.
We going to get to 60, Matt? Out to Huffman on the white miss. This is a suffocating game defensively for both Western and Central Michigan, coming right down to the ends. May not be the prettiest game, but another classic coming up in this series. 15 of the last 25 meetings have been decided by 10 points or less. Keno Davis seen enough. Wants a timeout, figure things out offensively.
Yeah, with 14 on the shot clock, you've got some time to draw something up. And
the team that Central Michigan and Western Michigan are chasing is Ball State. And right now, they're 3 games back of the Cardinals in the win column with their win earlier this afternoon against the Rockets. So it's a must-win for both squads here in Mount Pleasant. Shot clock late. Broadway Junior's been the man. 24 points on 9 of 13 shooting. Lost his balance. Basaint taps it out. Western Michigan coaching staff can't believe there wasn't a walk and then an over the back potentially on Basaint.
Yeah, that was definitely an awkward play. I'd love to see the Broadway play in slow motion because it definitely looked awkward.
Huffman hits the second Chippewa 3. Last 5 have gone to the junior out of Iowa Western CC. Largest lead for CMU. And we've got a foul inside, so back to the line for Greg Lee.
Yeah, Ralph Basaint had a bear hug as Lee was driving. Right there, arm on the back. As Lee was turning, you maybe could hear it in the gym. Western wanted the continuation, wanted the and one opportunity, and still, he'll earn it at the free throw line.
And another comes out, whitens the offensive board. Muscles it up, and Basaint quickly now has 3.
Yeah, whistles coming fast and furious over the last 2 minutes. Good job by Whitens getting that offensive rebound.
He's had 3 or 4 offensive rebounds, and they're now 13 for Western Michigan collectively. There's a free throw that falls.
13 offensive rebounds, but only 12 second chance points. You'd think that would lead to a little bit more production. Still, 12's pretty good. 12 points that you're getting extra, I guess, so to speak. Who's going to make the plays, Adam? 4 minutes left. Rivalry game.
Murray's been quiet, just 6 points. A guy that's been automatic in double figures. It's been Caleb Huffman, but that drops out. He's had 7 second-half points. The artist White into the paint. Under control, we're tied.
Good drive. Beating the defense down the floor.
Timeout, Keno Davis. What a finish we've got coming up. 3:50 to go, all knotted up between the Broncos and the Chippewas.
It was never.
Came back, took a 4-point advantage, and the latest bucket, a B. Artist White jumper, 58-58. Matt DeVries, pretty good game, huh?
Absolutely, and you didn't really know if we were going to get to this point because not a whole lot of flow. Played in the half court in the first half, but things have really opened up, and now just a few possessions left in this game. Who's going to take advantage? And Caleb Huffman, the first to do so.
9 second-half points for Huffman. He's got 11, and CMU reclaims the advantage. Broncos looking for their first win here since 2016. Chippewas trying to end a 4-game losing streak on the season. Whitens the baseline drive. Out the other end. Cruz is up for 3. Muhammad, strength on Whitens, snatches that board.
That was a great find to find Cruz in the near corner. That was a pretty good look. Chance to take the lead, and how about the strength by Muhammad?
He's having himself a great game. Malik Muhammad, 10 points, 6 boards. Broadway Jr. has been doing it offensively. 24 points, make it 27. Splash from deep.
I was shaking my head as that one went up. I thought that was a little ill-advised. He had some time left on the shot clock, but good if it goes, right?
27, absolutely. That ties a career high. Grown man move by Greg Lee. Broncos needed that.
Here's maybe where you missed Devontae Lane. Out with an injury today, starting point guard for Central Michigan. Crunch time, you want a guy that can handle the basketball.
Huffman, a little bit long. Loose ball, fought for Broadway Jr. Couple of Broncos, picked up by White. Western Michigan in this second half, 5 for 12 from deep. They could tie it with a triple. Greg Lee doubled. White set for a triple, gets it, 63 up with 2 minutes left.
Wow, with Muhammad trying to close out, knocks it down. That's a huge shot.
Again, it hasn't been pretty, but this has been a heck of a game. Excellent intensity on both sides. Broadway Jr. lost it, last off his leg, back to the Broncos.
Kind of had a stretch there where the whistles were coming at a rapid rate.
Be a statement, I think, for Clayton Bates and the Broncos to come out and get 2 in a row, one against a team in Bowling Green where it is just difficult to pick up victories in the Stroh Center, and the other potentially coming against his rival. White had that last 3. Cruz penetrating up against Muhammad, who swats it. Second block for Malik Muhammad.
Greg Lee didn't touch the ball there. I thought maybe you want to get him a touch, and then he can facilitate off of that to White or Cruz.
Still tied with just over a minute left to go. Broadway Jr. the leader here with 27. Huffman has had the 9 second half points. Trying to break down Cruz, cut off. Shot clock low, deep Beachler 3. Good defensive possession for the Broncos.
Great defense by the Broncos. You'll take that shot attempt every single time under 2 minutes.
And Clayton Bates says, let's talk about it on a huge possession coming up. 52 seconds to go, tied at 63. It has been a grinder type of game.
One that matters. And you got to try and come out of here with a W. Whoever comes out now has a chance to really reclaim some momentum in their season. If you lose one now, coming this close and coming up short, it could be a backbreaker.
Broncos have scored 5 in a row to tie it, while CMU's been scoreless for the final 2 minutes here. 45 seconds left. Wilkins going one-on-one against Huffman. It was up there, but comes off. Ripped away, though, by Freeman. Blocked by Broadway, but they get a foul. And CMU sideline can't believe it. Wow, that looks clean from our angle.
Here we go. Board gets ripped away by Freeman. Oh.
Not much.
That's tough. That's close.
A big swat, and it was a late whistle, too. Freeman, the freshman, calmly knocks it down. He's got a career-high 10. He can give the Broncos a 2-point lead. What'd you think, Matt?
I personally think that's a block. But, over the top like that, you got to make sure you pick it clean. You can't hit the hand at all.
Was it the swatting motion?
I think it could be. Maybe it's, there's a whole host of things that are going through an official's mind. And tough to make a call like that so late in a game. You want it decided on the floor with the plays instead of a whistle.
Well, 2 points for the Broncos. Freeman, 65-63, and all of a sudden, as we've seen scoring droughts on both sides, CMU's got to find some points as they haven't had any in the last 2.5 minutes. Under 30 to play. Pump fake, Broadway Jr. leans in and gets the call. He'll have 3 shots. You're laughing.
Yeah, because I don't think that's a foul either. It's just, okay, so Greg Lee leaves his feet. If he doesn't leave his feet, the whistle probably doesn't come. So
Is there a touch of makeup in that call? You'll bite your tongue.
Yep.
1 point game. Going down as an absolute classic once again in this series. Again, hasn't been the prettiest, but two teams that are fighting hard. New career high now for Broadway Jr. with 29. And he can hit the 30-point plateau and give Central Michigan the lead here with just over 20 seconds to go. Broadway Jr.'s got the last 5 for CMU. That one pops out. Tie game. Broncos can win it and take the last shot. We may have overtime in Mount Pleasant. We'll get a timeout from Clayton Bates first.
Maybe a sliver of justice there, that the free throws match up and we end up right where we were before those two calls.
Of conference games, this is a big game, and especially you add the factor that it's your rival that you're playing against. Here we go, 16 seconds left. Broncos will try and hold for the last shot. White against Huffman. 5 seconds to go. Greg Lee from the baseline. Got it. 1.7 left. And a timeout taken, but Greg Lee with the huge shot over Huffman and Murray.
Shoot right away, and he drained it.
Now what can the Chippewas do? They got to go the full court here. A 2 to tie, a 3 to win. 2 seconds left. The Saints can run the baseline. Goes deep to Murray, off his hands. White gathers, and Western Michigan has swept the Chippewas for the first time since 2016. So they come into McGurk and steal one 67-65 late.
Wow, what a great game.